If you enjoy my podcast, then please subscribe, leave a rating and a review. Please visit my website, mikedelferro.com, where you also will find links to my other podcast, Self-Management for Musicians. You will also find links to my music and my socials. And of course, please share this podcast with anyone interested. Nothing beats the word of mouth. Thank you. Welcome to my podcast. I'm sitting here with Lucas van Merwijk, a world-class drummer from the Netherlands. We know each other for many years and we just realized we haven't played enough together, but he has an amazing story. He's an incredible musician, incredible educator, and we're going to talk about a lot of things. Lucas, thank you for joining my podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. My pleasure. Mike, good to see you again after this time.
Yeah. It's been a minute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, you just stopped teaching after 38 years at the conservatory here in the Netherlands.
Yeah. I started teaching 87, I think, and several schools, Codarts in Rotterdam, the World Music Department, and before that Hilversum, fused with Amsterdam Conservatory. But let's say the main schools were Amsterdam and Rotterdam conservatories. And in Rotterdam, I mainly teach that, as I said, the World Music Department, Latin music. They had a special department there, which at that time was revolutionary in the 80s, 90s, led by Jan Hartong, the famous piano player, also the leader of Nueva Manteca, in which I was the drummer. And at that time we made some waves in the Latin music and the jazz scene here in Europe. And so there was, at that time it was called world music, which the term now is not, now people would call it global music. I think world music is a kind of passé, but attracted a lot of students from all over the world. So it quickly became a very international school. You know, students from all over the world came to Rotterdam to study. And the same thing in Amsterdam, actually. When I started teaching there, it was pretty small, but I just retired 3 or 4 months ago. And in all those years, it grew to be a incredible international institute, very high level. And I think that's one of the main things I've seen change is the level of playing. If you compare it with the 80s and now, it's incredible. You know, I can say that now the entrance level nowadays, it would, maybe you could compare with the final exam level at that time. You know, the level that people already play at a young age nowadays is incredible. Yeah.
And how do you think where do you think this is coming from? What is the reason?
Well, a few reasons. I think the main reason is that when I started teaching, and also when I was having lessons, there was not that much information around you. You had your teacher. The teacher was the source of information, and you know, other students exchanging albums and records, cassette tapes. You had to copy.
Right. Yeah.
Later on, the videotapes, and and then the CDs, and of course the internet. You know, now all young students, they can see anything already in a split second. You can listen to Miles or any record you think of, you can hear, and that's what they're listening to. So that's incredible. So the knowledge is there.
Everything at their fingertips.
Yeah.
YouTube generation, and I think the role of the teacher has changed from being a source of information more to being a coach or a guide. So how to navigate through all that knowledge that is available in such a way that the student doesn't get blown away or crazy, or still. I think that the role of the teacher has changed into that more coaching role. Yeah, because how do you deal with this? Because it's kind of option paralysis.
Yeah,
so much to choose from, and you don't need to learn anymore how to hold a stick.
Yeah.
So how do you do this? How do you approach this?
Well,
did you? I mean, you're stopped.
I was really tried to look at the student, and it sounds a bit, try to be a mirror for the student. So what do you want? Where are you coming from, and where do you want to go? Usually in the first lesson, I talked about how do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years, or so. Why are you making music? Write down those things. Try to find out what is the drive of you being here in school. So I would first talk about that, as opposed to just give random information. And so also a thing that I noticed during those years of teaching is the background of the students is really important. So let's say jazz education, which usually is focused on American jazz in the beginning. People want to, American jazz. Jazz is American music, so American culture. So they start to look into that, and they want to become a great jazz drummer, or it can be straight ahead, or those kind of things. And after a while, they may know the basics or the language and the techniques that's necessary for that. But I discovered that usually after 3-4 years, what's next? So then I started to talk with them. Where are you coming from? Maybe I have a guy from Brazil or from India or from whatever, Greece or all over the world.
So international.
So I said, maybe try to do something with your own background, musical background. And the moment they start doing that, it becomes much stronger what they do, the music and the identity of what they are doing, as opposed to just trying to imitate a so-called typical jazz or bebop player. And then at that moment they will, start to think about music and put different elements in there. And I see very positive results there, I mean, they don't have to, but it's just, it becomes, what I've seen, some, really nice results that people start to throw in their own maybe rhythms or melodies or harmonies or sounds from the,
based on their cultural heritage, culture.
Yeah, and that becomes more alive of that, in that way, their musicianship and their maybe the writing or the way they form groups, and so that process, I found it interesting. To work with students in that way. Yeah.
And how do you see their future? Because after teaching for 38 years, seeing so many talents evolving with, let's be honest, a saturated market, how do you see their future?
I'm always surprised to see that so many students find a way to in the music business, in the music world, in one way or another, and sometimes already in the first year you can see, okay, that student or that one is, I think he has a good attitude or a good mentality, very open, or already taking initiative in projects that you can already see at a young age. Oh, he starts to put projects together or rehearsing, or so those guys will survive, in my opinion, because playing well is, everybody plays well nowadays. What we had to learn, I think you as well, and me, is that the music business part is equally important, or maybe even more important, to become successful in music. Organizing tours, connecting with people, maintaining your contacts. So, but at the same time, I think the whole internet, online, YouTube, etc., I find it not a problem, but I find it a challenge, to get people away from the Netflix or away from their screens, telephones, and laptops to go to visit a live concert. Because I've seen it already, and the telephone has become the stage now. So we all have to do our promos, podcasts, Instagram, movies, and blah blah blah. But to get them out of the chair and book a ticket and go to a theater or jazz club or whatever. It's becoming really hard, I think. And so the students or the schools or the jazz education, music education, we had the music business and career also as a subject that people could study, but they're doing a great job actually, but it's becoming very complex, I think. You need so many tools and to be good at all those things, to be successful,
I mean, I always say in my course, self-management and mindset for musicians, that a successful career in music is 200%. It's 100% great artistry, whatever you do.
Yeah.
And the other 100% is mentality.
Yeah.
And it's not only being organized, how to book a gig, but also to, be reliable, be flexible in any situation when you travel. Yeah. Your reputation has to be impeccable, things like that.
Yeah, you have to be all those. As anyone, as no one else. I think the way you have built your career and all those. You started with piano, but you did all those things, and the same that we do in my company. It's the same thing. We have my wife. We help, but we build our network worldwide now. So it's different projects from solo projects to big bands. They have all those things I have, and I like them all, and I keep them intact. Also, it's not like I finished the big band, now I start with the duo. No, I keep them all kind of alive, and not even out of business reasons, but more like musical reasons. Also, I find it a pity to stop it. It is we did all that work.
I mean, and with so much great music, and it's also you have to keep it fresh for yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
If you only focus on one project, which maybe is successful, there comes a lot to it.
And we are in the Netherlands is a small country, so and I think the people who are successful also is they see the whole world as their market, or of course we are in Europe, we're close to Germany. For a while, I said to Rosa, okay, my wife, let's focus now on Germany. The world by itself is too big to focus on as a whole, but you can say, okay. We used to do that. So it's okay. Now this year we're going to focus on Germany. Now we're going to focus on China. Now we're going to focus on. And once you put those seeds in those territories, they will start. They have to grow also. So you might get a call out of whatever South America from a context from maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, or But. I think that's important to think international, but also at the same time narrow it down to certain territories. I would.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. I'm now in the stage, for instance, that I'm playing a lot in South America, mainly Brazil.
Yeah,
and there's a lot going on for me in Asia, mainly China and Japan, also Indonesia, but. Yeah, then it shifted a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to last for a couple of years. And then I used to play a lot in South Africa, but that kind of... This didn't vanish. But there are these stages you go. And it's true, you have to focus on certain territories.
So, for example, China also is, there was like 5-6 before Corona, the economy was like red hot. Everything was possible, and it was, a lot of things happening. And you see now after Corona, it was slowed down. So now we're going back a little bit to China, but for a while it was, compared to 10 years ago, it's been much slower, I think, so, and maybe every country, like you said, South Africa, or for a while it can be happening or peaking in your.
It's all like stages.
Yeah, it's like stages, and it's a good thing to have that in mind as well. So you never know. Certain projects might work in a certain in a certain country, in others not. You know, this is it's very funny, and I don't I don't have the secret for that or the key.
No, and you never know when a message comes in from whatever country.
Yeah.
But that's because of building on a career like we both did in our own way for many years, and that's how you do it, you know. And I mean, that's what we've been doing. That's how it has worked for us.
Yes, and it's you know, for me it helps not to be on my. I respect you that you do that all by yourself. I have my wife Roosje, with whom I can, you know. Talk and make plans. I'm not sure if I could do if I would be able to do that all on my own.
No, I must say it's hard.
Yeah.
Although I must say that now I'm at a stage that, like in Brazil, which is a huge country, I have in several cities people helping me out, and you know, and that's also, so it's not so bad. But at the end of the day, I'm coordinating a lot myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, so
that's what it is.
We used to have, in some country, we have like bookers or people who know us very well, and they will, you know, do some work for us there. Do you contact all the clubs yourself or all the festivals?
But at this stage, I only contact people I already know. I don't do cold acquisition anymore, because for several reasons. First of all, I don't have the energy for it, you know, and the network now, I think it's the same with you. It's big enough at this point, after working for 40 years continuously on, you know, building your career. And also, you know, there's a young generation, you know, who needs space and all of that. And
true. Yeah.
And you know, you have to be flexible there. So, but you know, it's the same with you. I think you have such a huge network now, you know, and the people who you once worked with know your qualities, know that you're flexible, all of that, blah, 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 blah. That's already enough to take care of.
Yeah.
So what I do is sometimes, like when I get an invitation, let's say to play in Brazil, and then I would see, okay, I have like maybe another 10 days left and it's far away and tickets, then I maybe will contact a contact I have in Colombia or what, you know, to combine where you go to South America. Same in Asia. You know, when you travel far, but only people I know at this stage.
You let them know you're around, and then you know, you have something. Or can you help me out? I have this.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoy my podcast, then please subscribe, leave a rating and a review. Please visit my website, mikedelferro.com, where you also will find links to my other podcast, Self-Management for Musicians. You will also find links to my music and my socials. And of course, please share this podcast with anyone interested. Nothing beats the word of mouth. Thank you. Yeah. I want to get back to China later, because you created something really incredible there, which I don't know any foreign musician, or let's say non-Chinese musician, has achieved there. But a little bit back to your history, and you're an all-round drummer, I know, but you're mainly known, actually famous for your Latin drumming. And you were also actually kind of pioneering, introducing this music here in the Netherlands. Yeah.
Well, I came to Amsterdam early 80s, and there was a peak in Latin music, and there was the first wave of what people start to call salsa music. So that became very popular. And that always went in waves, you know. But the first huge wave was around 80, 81, following the salsa, which is just a word for African music in New York. So New York, the salsa wave was 76, 78, and a few years later it came here. So we had a lot of salsa bands, and I was studying at the Amsterdam Jazz School, and I was doing some jazz. I had my pop background, and I was playing with a group called the Big Bamboo Party Time Calypso Band with Gert-Jan Blom on the bass. He was later the
artistic producer of the Metropole Orchestra. And anyway, he had a very good taste for Latin music, cachao and Cuban music. And I got to play the fundamentals. And then a bunch of New York guys came to live in Amsterdam, like bass player Leslie Lopez.
With Latin descent. New York guys, because he's from Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rican, New Yorkers, they call it. Like,
New Yorkers.
Joe Rivera. And and I start to play with those people, and mainly percussion, timbales, and but I was a drummer. I was interested in transposing those rhythms to drum set, which I did with a good friend of mine from the Antilles, myself, Frans, and we used to every day, hours and hours, work out stuff. So at that time, there was not so much information there. Actually, none, videos or books or. So I found it very interesting to do that research myself. It was like a discovery trip, how do I do this? And then, then Cuba, which was the Mecca, of course, for Cuban music, for Latin music, there's where it's happening, and the piano player I mentioned before, Jan Hartong, he went there, I think with a few guys, was the first league to go there with Amancio Bata and another conga player. And that was the first time Cuba started opening up, because it had been closed economically, like USA and and then I went there, and there was a group called Afro Cuba, which was a kind of the same direction as Irakere, heavy jazz-oriented Cuban music with very virtuose players. Irakere had Paquito Rivera, Arturo Sandoval,
Chucho
Valdez, and all the blown away people with the chops and the music. Afro Cuba, there was the same
iconic Cuban band,
And Afro Cuba, the drummer the son of the singer of Oscar Valdez, the singer of Irakere, was Oscarito Valdez, and they came to play in the Netherlands at the Kroeg. This was a place in Amsterdam, and Nick Vollenberg's Jazz Café, and he was playing Cuban rhythms on drum set in a way. I was blown away by that. So I said, I have to go there. So I went there in '86 to study. And we were the first ones. I went there, and it was before internet. So I just bought a ticket and went there looking for those guys. And there was, looking back, I said, how did I do that? But we just did it. I was very young, and it's like you feel like you have to do it. So like same way, like some people go to New York, and we have to go there. And I went to Havana, and I spent weeks with those guys, with Oscarito, who actually passed away already. He's my age, but so many thanks to him. It was a huge inspiration for. I also at that time met Gonzalo Rubalcaba, who was very unknown. Nobody knew him at that time. And Horacio Hernandez, the drummer.
El Negro.
Yeah, El Negro. Yeah. And there was a Dutch ambassador in Havana who, after each jazz concert, invited all the jazz musicians to his house, because they had nothing there. And he was a jazz fan, so I had told him I'm there, so he invited me to his house, and then I met those Rubalcaba and Horacio, and still in touch with them. Oh, not Rubalcaba, but Horacio, yes. And so to see those guys play, it was horrible. I was blown away by Rubalcaba at that time.
Man, that guy, man. I could talk for 10 hours about my admiration for this man.
Yeah, so imagine
already back then with Grupo Proyecto, and when he was like 18,
so
it was just amazing.
I saw Proyecto there. I just walked. Yeah, go to see that. Go to the club. It's called Casa La Cultura. There's a nice band playing. So okay, let's go. I went there. I saw I said, "What is this?" It was like from another planet.
The level in Cuba, it's insane.
Insane.
It's still.
You know what they had is that they finished conservatory. They were very often classical trained as well, like the Russian piano school, or you know, so that's different. But at the same time, they had the street vibe. You know, so they had those two things:
survival and all of that.
Thing, but also the Cuban or West African DNA inside there. So that combination made him unbeatable. You know, is so plus they were state musicians. So they not like we have to do millions of gigs with everybody to they had one band which rehearsed every day. They rehearsed every day for 5 hours. So everybody played everything by heart, and it was ridiculous. I went to see those rehearsals, you know.
Yeah, that's a kind of discipline. We'll never get close to that kind of discipline.
No, because
a whole other
different,
on a whole other page.
Musical business culture also here. Everybody, you have to be able to play with everybody inside, read, and here or in New York or whatever in the West. And that was a band culture there. You play in that band. You play in Irakere, or you play in Afro Cuba. You don't play in two bands. You know,
no. Your job is you play in that band, but
like we play in 100 bands. You know.
Yeah.
But so that anyway, I came back here and then start to incorporate my knowledge or my experience in bands like Nueva Manteca. It was, as I mentioned, made some waves, and later on I formed my own big band, the Cube City Big Band, which still exists, and which was kind of the same thing but in big band version. It was more like starting from inspiration by New York Mambo, Machito, Tito Puente, Tito Rodriguez. And, you know, that's another love of mine, that like the Dizzy Gillespie, the Cuban music, bebop. So Dizzy Gillespie, Chano Pozo was more like the New York interpretation of Cuban music.
And you also have this wonderful project. I don't know if it's still happening, actually. It's Drums United.
Yeah, Drums United. We existing now for 25 years. Actually, now busy to do a project. Drums United is a project with drummers from all over the world combined in one band. So we have African or Senegalese percussion, mainly Sabar drum, Latin percussion, at the moment Venezuela. We had Oriental percussion from Turkey, Alpe Kekec, and Asian percussion, Niti Ranyambis on the tablas. And we have, through the 25 years, many different guests or members of the band who came and left again. For example, my daughter is still in the band, playing Suriname, doing vocals and percussion. We had Papatiam on the talking drum. And the great thing about Drums United is that's a band that works everywhere, wherever you play in the world, the audience really feels that, because everybody likes drums, everybody likes percussion. So we can play in Scandinavia or next day in Colombia or in China, and people will feel it because it's the rhythms, and they see so many different cultures.
Everybody can identify somehow.
They can identify themselves with, Latin people. That's our groove, the Venezuelan grooves, or Brazilian people, and that band also for me has been a personal discovery. Actually, for me, that's maybe
a red line through all my projects. I like to do things that are interesting for me to develop. You know, I want to know about Senegalese percussion or Indian percussion, and by playing with those people, I learn the language of the rhythms. You know, and then you start to see the parallels between
the similarities and the
similarities, for example, between West African and Antillean, or West African and Venezuelan, or Bulgarian or East European music with Asian music, or the odd meter stuff, and and once you start to see that, you say, it's like now and that's amazing. So it's a continuous travel, actually. Yeah.
I think that's also a thing we have in common. Yeah. Always being curious, curiosity.
It's
still, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm still like that.
Yeah. How can you not be? I mean, if you are, let's say I'm a drummer, so I'm busy with rhythm. Now, if you're only focused in the Netherlands, it's going to be a short
2-hour drive to the German border.
We don't have. We have a little bit of rhythm, maybe, if you would call it the klomperdans.
Man!
But it doesn't go further. And that is basically polka-oriented farmers' music, European, rhythmically speaking, what we have in the U.S. But Europe has some rhythms. We have, we have East European rhythms, Bulgaria, and if you call Turkey part of Europe as well, or flamenco rhythms, Spain. Scottish music, Irish, they already have some more interesting stuff. But you have to go outside as a drummer to,
If you're from this country, you grew up in this culture, you have to expand and explore.
Yeah.
And also, don't you always find it such a painful question when you're somewhere in Latin America and people ask you, what is, or also with food, tell me about food or rhythms or music culture from your country.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, no, actually.
What do you say?
Yeah. What I say is, actually, I used to be, but I just told you about the students that I said, do something with your own culture.
Right.
And actually, I never did that with my culture, which at the end, I'm Dutch. I'm a Dutch person. So this year I started a project which is called Kaaskop, which is a kind of a funny name or slang for a Dutch person, and
it literally means cheese head.
Cheese head,
because we're known for our obsession with cheese.
yeah. And I thought maybe it would be interesting to see what I can do with my own background or identity as a Dutchman, and I was always putting, my own culture a little bit down, the Netherlands music. But we do have a tradition in, I would say, very text-oriented, or maybe we have some songwriting, or, we have a few people who did great stuff there. Not if you analyze in a rhythmical way, or maybe, but melodically and textual, yes.
That's true.
And
That's true.
So, and my brother was one example of that. He passed away, but he was an incredible songwriter in minimalistic stuff, and also what we call cabaretier in the Netherlands, which is kind of a word for maybe comedian in the United, or outside in England, people would call it that maybe. In the Netherlands, we don't announce the music.
No.
We let the audience... this is that tune. In China, the other way around. I would give a lot of background, and then we would play two Chinese songs in a way that without any given information. And it was very interesting to see the reaction of the Chinese audience when we played their music. Wow, it was very interesting.
So anyway, people in other cultures appreciate it if you take a couple of songs from their culture and
do that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that makes the connection, and
exactly.
And the connection is really. I found it really maybe the most important thing. If you're on a stage, is try to connect with audience. In some way. Yeah.
Can you give a musical example about how you treated a Dutch song? Or
we do something about I worked with a famous Dutch singer for a few years. His name was Ramses Shaffi. I toured with him, with Ed Wolf, the guitar player of the trio. So we take a tune called Sammy. We go all the way, really a lot of musical trips inside. Just take the melody of the tune. So the melody of the tune is the one thing that stays, but harmonically and rhythmically we take it everywhere. And there are more songs that we do something of the Golden Earring, or something of Anouk or Gilles de Korte, or Dutch melodies that every person in the Netherlands has heard before, so they will recognize the melody. What I realized, that if the audience recognize the melody, they will understand much better what you do harmonically or rhythmically, because the melody is going on in their subconsciousness.
Exactly.
And I think jazz has the danger with jazz has they have driven the audience away a little bit from being too much out of
too intellectual, too brainy,
and not connecting with the normal audience anymore. Like what I mean with normal audience is maybe people who are not educated in jazz or have And I think that's my personal conviction, that music should be able to connect with anybody who is not
100%.
Yeah, like okay, no, you can only understand that music if you listen to Parker or to really. Then maybe you're doing something wrong. It's good, but
especially nowadays, when you realize how hard it is to get people to visit a concert. You have to provide them with, well, first of all, appreciate it, and then also provide them with a lot of information. The good announcing and explaining about the music is kind of half of the, well, if you success somehow.
It's a key thing, and make them enjoy it. It's it doesn't have to be entertainment, but in a simple, I'm still working on that every time. How can I get, if you play in a small village somewhere east of Netherlands, or it's already different than if you're playing in Rotterdam or Amsterdam. So you have to find a tone in presentation, and that doesn't always work, but it's always a challenge, to get the people.
Yeah, but just already explaining something and actually, like you said, incorporating a famous melody, which that helps a lot. And I must say, maybe before I was a little bit too rude when I said the painful question about Dutch culture. But when it comes to melodies, and also lyrics in our language, and like your brother, who was I kind of speak modest about your brother, but he was an iconic Dutch artist. That's true. We do have some beautiful stuff.
But it's the way, let's say, Cuban music has taken over the world, or Brazilian music, which is also due to the United States. I mean, the American culture was conquering the world, and they had the Brazilian and Cuban backgrounds in the melting pots like New Orleans and New York. So that's the musical reason, but that doesn't take away that in Europe, not only Netherlands, but we have all this small, French music, Irish music, Dutch music, and Dutch is very, but you have to speak Dutch to be able to appreciate. If I would play a song of my brother or any Dutch to a Cuban guy, or probably they would shake their heads. So, but harmonically or rhythmically, it's not that
No.
No.
To grasp on, but really it can be the subtlety or the nuances are in the very often in small things in the text, and
yeah, but like the song you mentioned before, like Sami from Ramses Shaffi, that's a wonderful melody, and if you combine this with other rhythms and the knowledge, it can be very interesting.
Yeah, it works, and I think actually Ramses. In particular, was also Ramses Shaffi. He was a piano player and singer, also a romantic musician, and also improviser. We would play with him. He would play the same song, really different every day. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And the chords he would play. Ramses. He really some jazz chords. He was not an educated, jazz musician, but. He had the heart and the sensitivity of an improvising musician, I would say.
Yeah, and very organic, and amazing artist. Yeah, wonderful. Hey, and Lucas, from Ramses to a whole totally different environment, China.
Yeah, China. So I've been going to China now. My wife and I, maybe. For 13 or 14 years, I would say it was a very funny combination of events that made us go there. First is that I was playing in Canada at the festival called London Sunfest in London, Ontario, with my quartet, which was a Latin jazz quartet with Ilya, Reingoud, Ramon. And after the show, I was talking with some American guys who were the drummers, and my wife said, look at that guy. He's all the time filming you. It was a Chinese guy. He filmed you all your drum solo and your the concert. And there's the same guy who was playing drums with that band before us. It was a Chinese reggae band, and with this Chinese drummer. And so again, always my wife she always makes me look different, and so
that's great.
So I started to talk with that guy, and said, "Oh yeah, I very much enjoyed your playing in the quartet." He said, "Did you ever go to China?" I said, "No, never." Oh, okay. If you go to China, give me a call and. He gave me his information, and maybe you can help. Then the coincidence was that we were busy with one of our youth projects. It's called 4-Beat. It's a percussion show for kids, and we had a contact in China for a youth festival. Youth theater in a different province, somewhere in Xi'an was it? Yeah, and so. We bought tickets to go there. It was just a meeting with the theater corporation China. And in China everything is huge, so it's not like one theater. But no, we have 300 theaters. Or
the numbers there are just staggering.
Yeah. So we talked with them, and the group went there, the youth group. But so I told the guy after him, said, "Listen, we are in China. Okay, come by to go meet me in Beijing." And he set up a meeting with a percussion school, drum school, which was called 9 Beats. And I did a clinic for those guys just randomly, and I let them know. He said, I'm here, and I did one clinic in Beijing and a clinic in Tianjin. And Tianjin was the headquarters of 9 Beats Drum Schools, which is a franchise, and run by a good friend. We call him Mr. Lee, who started that school. It's just starting with 6 students, but at that time they already had a franchise with schools all over China. And it has grown so much, but at that particular day, all the teachers of the 9 Beats franchises, they were together that weekend for a learning event, 2 days clinics and blah blah. So I went there, I did my clinic with all the Latin stuff, and there was the big boom. So it was a combination of the right timing and the right moment.
And all the heads, all the branches were there. Yeah.
All the French are so, oh, and everybody was talking. Oh wow! So that made a big bang, and then on a personal level, because for me as a drummer, but also later on, I said, listen, I'm here. I would love to do something with my percussion group, Drums United. And so the year after that, I did a tour with Drums United, going to different cities. And they start to invite me to be teacher at all those schools. So I don't know how many times since then I've been there. A lot of times.
I remember you going there maybe like 3-4 times a year. From what I gathered.
Yeah, we at least 3 times a year until Corona. So I would do tours like I don't know. First tour was 12 cities, and then I became a big name in China in the drummers world. So teaching and doing clinics. My book is translated into Chinese. My book, World Rhythms for Drum Set. And the scale is huge there. So sometimes I would do a clinic. There would be, 800 drummers in the audience or 1,000 drummers there. So they had 220,000 students at a certain moment in China. Drummers,
Yeah.
So, and they were also. The whole business around it, selling books, selling drumsticks, selling drum sets. So it's this huge company. It was
became really kind of a business.
Huge business. I mean, millions, and not for me, but going around in that school.
But you caused something, yeah.
So Mr. Lee is now living in LA. They had a big problems, of course, like anybody in China in the Corona time, in the COVID, with the droppings of, they had some hard times, but until then, and that made also possible for me to bring my projects there. So I went there with my quartet. I did a few duos with Alin Jairous from Senegal, with Roberto Fiscaino, who was the one who playing Proyecto with Rubalcaba. And Horacio.
Yeah,
fantastic percussion player. We went there a few times doing tours. So I like to do clinics on my own, but I like more to play with 2 people or trio, so I would try to see how much I could do. I tried to do something every year, a new project. So Drums United, my big band even went there, Shanghai Jazz Festival. So from there, we were able to extend our network, to not only the percussion world, but also the, let's say, the jazz world, which is also interesting in China. I think it's
growing, and there's a lot going on there.
It's a lot going on, and you feel the same kind of eagerness. I think maybe American musicians felt after going from New York to Europe in the 50s, 60s, 60s, the appreciation that European audience had for the American musicians. I think it must have been something like that we are experiencing when we play in China. The respect and don't you agree?
Yeah,
I think it's
totally.
The market is big, and people are so eager to learn. They want to know what you are doing, and it's heartwarming. I think it's a really good listening audience, and
before we started this podcast, we were talking about China. I think we're both kind of advocating for this country.
Oh, yeah.
The people just are so wonderful and
very
open.
Warm.
Simply love that country.
Me too. My wife is already, has been learning Chinese, and it's also, I think it's a incredible, respectful people, the way they treat you, and there's a lot of things I like about the Chinese culture. The on a personal level, also the little things, the way the nuances in communication and tradition. you get to know it when you are there. It's really hard to explain to people who have not been there.
Yeah. That's exactly.
But if you and also, I've been all over China, so the differences between the north, east, south, west, and the different it goes as extreme as, I don't know, eating or having the whatever. Greece food or culture and Norwegian or the same difference you have within China. You know, it's a lot of
a lot of ethnic differences too. Like when you go to the West, where people look more like, you know, like there's a lot of Turkish influence there, and it's so huge.
Yeah,
and fascinating.
It's fascinating, and I don't know. It's been very good for us. For apart from the way they treat me, or it's just to open your mind and your ears actually too. I think I wish I would have more time to learn about Chinese music. I've visited some schools with Chinese traditional music, and you know, sometimes it's only our music. I said, don't talk about that. It's incredible musicianship. With you probably have seen the
erhu, that instrument, the
you have the one string and the, you know, the elegance and the thing. What they don't have is they don't have a groove culture. So it's more like a floating pulse. It's not the exactness that we know from rhythmic music like African music or Latin music. The precision and the pulse, the steady pulse, that is not so much a presence in Chinese music, which actually, and they feel that very often themselves. That's what they want to learn. They want to have that. They want to learn about Latin music.
How do you do that?
Well, I have built a kind of system or some steps in which I can get them to do that. You know, for one thing, for example, there's a pattern in the cascara in the Cuban music in the percussion we call the cascara pattern. It's ta 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 ta. Now, if I sing it like this, it's already complicated. It sounds complicated. So, but if I go like this, I would say to an audience with 100 drummers, say, okay, repeat after me. Ta 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 ta. Pa 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 pa. They can do that because now it's kind of cut off. I leave two notes out.
Yeah, they can comprehend.
Without knowing, they are singing 80% of the cascara pattern. Okay, again. Pa pa da pa pa da pa pa. Good. And I do that maybe 10 times. Okay, now pa pa da pa pa da pa pa da. Okay, pa pa da pa pa da pa pa da. Yeah, very good. Pa pa da pa pa da pa pa da pa da pa da pa. So I have them in 5 minutes. They know the cascara pattern. You know, I would do the same thing with clave, with you know, the 2/3, the 3/2 claves, just by ear. So
you found a very efficient way to
have large groups understand the fundamentals. You know, it's always
from a culture which is totally literally in the other end of the planet for them.
Yeah, but I really believe every music is in the essence simple. You know, because otherwise, how can so many groups, African, just feel the music, you know? So there must be something really essential that is basic that all humans can understand. Which, if you travel a lot, you notice that. I've been to Curaçao. I see a kid from 5 years old playing a tumba pattern, which has the second note. Now, if I would explain to somebody here in the West, okay, you have a group of 3, but you accent the second note of the triplet, you know, then it becomes really brainy.
And then I think of that kid that I saw playing without all that knowledge, that has just developed the ear for that, because it's
the genes.
It's in the genes. It's in the music that they hear all the time. So I try to make that connection with the simplicity of any music. When I teach, or when especially large groups, interesting to
Yeah.
Now. That's the first step. From that first step to be able to play it and to be able to feel free, that's another process, So, and some of the guys, I had students here doing masters in Amsterdam. Great drummers, Anju is the most famous drummer now in China. He's really kind of a superstar. I had other drummers, and they
Is he the guy from Beijing? He lives in Beijing. Lai.
Yeah, I think he's in Beijing. He had a band called Mandarin, and they had actually Mandarin was another example of a band putting Chinese music identity combined with jazz rock fusion, jazzish. They have a Blue Note contract. And he did a television show. He became really a superstar. Are you the teacher of Anju? They would ask me.
Yeah.
They would. People would ask, is it true that you? So that was very interesting. You become the teacher of the name of. But and I had more students and come here to Netherlands. After a while, they're just playing Latin music and they play jazz music. It's a big part is just knowing the coordination and the patterns and the technique.
Yeah.
And then the mechanics. If you know the mechanics, you start with the mechanics, and then you get later on you try to understand the music behind it. But usually it starts with a pattern or you have to give them something to hold on to.
For them, it's a very distant thing, but they do. That's also a thing in China. They're so open to anything.
Oh yeah,
and so eager to learn, like you said before.
Yeah.
And it's a great time to be there.
I think it's fantastic. I think I hope it will come. I felt it more like 10 years ago, when there was also there was a big different wind blowing than now, I would say, in China. Because they had kind of opened up, and everybody felt, there's something new is happening, and now the whole world is kind of a different vibe, So it's kind of, but still, it's still great to be there. But especially in the beginning, I was, what is this? It was the biggest bang in the drum world, I think. Maybe that percussion, the drum development, just the speed of it, how fast it grew. I think it must have been the biggest boom in the history of drums happening there. In the growth, in terms of growth, it was just ridiculous.
And it's great that you're kind of we're part of that.
Yeah, it's I count my blessings, and it was just incredible experience. It's traveling there, and the organization, and the way he treats you there. I said, man, I've been in some situations crazy. One time, I think this is how the Beatles must have felt. I did a clinic, and after the clinic, everybody ran on the stage like the kids. I had to run away back.
They
came screaming. I hope to go back there soon again. As I think I really hope, and I wish that everybody starts to look at China in a different way. That you and me have seen and felt. It's always on a human level, and it's
exactly.
Music is great for that. If you travel and you play with people, and then you all those. You don't want to talk about politics, me either, but the sentiments that people are, negative sentiments about certain countries.
Terrible.
So
we agree. It's a great country.
Well,
period.
I would advise people to go there.
Yeah. Hey, and Lucas, what's at stake for you in the near future?
Now, near future, we're gonna do a tour with Project Kaaskop, with the trio, but now extended with a Dutch musician, theater maker, Diederik van Vleuten. He's was also a good friend of my brother, and we're gonna do a program which has the title of one of the songs of my brother. It's called Breekbare Mensen, Fragile People, which is not really what it's not a softy show. But it's more like a reference to my brother. But it's gonna be the same concept, Dutch music, Dutch musical heritage, I would say, reinvented by us, by improvised and jazz music, and also with backgrounds by Diederik, but it can go from anywhere. From we are in the process of making it. Can go from iconic melodies or commercials like or Fabeltjeskrant, which everybody from our and Dutch comedians
children's program. Yeah,
so it's going to be really something new. And again, it's about doing something with our own identity and making something new out of it in a way that's we feel good about. And Diederik is an incredible historian, and also a writer, and he's a television maker, program maker, and he's a writer. So he has this. At the same time, he's incredible. He has a huge knowledge about the band called Steely Dan. So he's on different levels. He's a really fine artist and person. He's a wonderful friend. And so we are every day we are ping-ponging ideas.
Brainstorming. And
yeah. So that's one. And the other thing is I have a duo with Manu Gallo from Ivory Coast, a bass player she was in Zap Mama. We were here, she was part of my music machine in 2008. And she called me up a few, like 1.5 months ago. Lucas, we need to do something. She was playing at the bass festival and sending me all the reviews. I said, oh no, cannot put another band. I have already too many bands. But then I thought, hey, maybe a duo is a good idea. So that's another thing that's working with her. And it's going to be bass, and she sings and plays guitar. And so that's another thing. And Drums United, as I said, 25 years. My problem has always been too many. I have too many ideas.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to have a good idea, but to have them all work, that's... I think you're looking at me with a sense of
that's like it's like a human cell. Yeah. Same here. Yeah.
So why don't you and me we make a new project and forget about all the other projects?
That's we know each other for so many years. We appreciated each other for so many years, and we've done a few gigs here and there. But maybe this nice encounter is a good start for a real project. I hope so. I really hope so.
And I'm sure it will work. I mean, it's, with the experience you have with playing with people from everywhere, and it would be interesting, I think, to do something. And but maybe in 1 year's time we meet again here, or you never know how it can go really fast.
Yeah,
I've seen that happening. So I would be interested in doing something. I always tell actually I do get a lot of people contacting me, and they say, let's do something. And I tell them, but something. You need to have an idea. And I always tell my students, you should be able to put your idea into a few words. I always, for me, for myself, and also I tell my kids, my daughter, and myself, if you think in that way, think how somebody else will look, how they will look at your project, or not only bookers but also audiences. They have to
give them some direction, So that would be our challenge to for example, this could already be I'm just thinking out loud now here, but this could be a start. Well, we had this talk, we had been working, we should do something, and then we say, well, but it must be something real. We had this podcast, so for example, the podcast could be something, or I'm not sure, but just thinking out loud now. But you need some little thing to,
like kind of a hook.
So, Mike, we're gonna. There's no pressure, but we're gonna think about it, and we're gonna maybe tonight.
Exactly.
Boom! You wake up. That happened to me a lot. Or I'm walking with the dog in the park, and then boop, light bulb.
There is a difference between talking about it and be really serious about it.
Yeah.
I think we are.
It's true. It's true. And
I think it's a good learning curve for musicians who listen to this podcast, who always go like, let's do something, and then nothing happens. You really have to have a concept and then,
Yeah, you have to have the concept. Also, the trust that the other person or persons feel the same importance of doing it, or urgency, or the word that you have, because sometimes I have also that feelings. I will work with you, and why you want to work with me? Because I have a lot of tours or network, or
because you have a big network in China, and everybody wants to play with you in China. Exactly.
You must feel the same thing.
Yes, I have. Yes. But now at this point, I kind of feel it. I know. When it's like genuine, or when it's kind of a opportunistic kind of situation. Which sometimes I'm not even too judgmental about, because especially with younger starting musicians,
true,
it's not easy nowadays. True. I still think if you're great and you have the right mentality, there's space for everybody. But it is a saturated market, and it's not so easy. I'm happy. I think it's the same for you that. We're from that generation that was a little bit more easy to build a career in music.
I think it's a good point.
Creative music.
Is what you said, that young musicians or people already taking the initiative to reach out to you or to contact you. That's already a good thing. Can be a good thing.
Yeah.
So don't just turn them away. Or I take all the requests. I take all the requests or contacts seriously. I always say, okay, why not? Let's see what we can do. Also with young people, said I'm doing another project with artists in Rotterdam. Actually, it's art collective AAA Fresh 123. They are called, and they come out of the Rotterdam scene. Jules Deelder. It's 3 painters, and we did a show where they paint. Huge in a club, huge artwork, 6 meters, and we improvise. We did one show with Reinier Baas and Jeroen Vierdag, and I said, okay,
great musicians.
We're not gonna do any musical. We're not gonna say how to start or to end. We're just gonna see what happens. Fully improvised, and there was a club full of people eating and drinking, and they were watching. That was incredible, and so I like those things as well, just go for it and see what the moment brings you, and that's So for me as a musician, I did a thing with Ilya, the same thing. We did some concerts without any given thing.
Like not a concept, just improvise.
And
something in the moment.
That's the opposite of doing theater concerts, but it's also something that makes you really grow as a musician, because you can have nothing to fall down on, to rely on. You have only your musical instinct at the moment to make it work. That's a good lesson for me, Is it?
Especially when you play like, a person like you is like because Latin music it's also very structured in a way, especially when you lead big bands. You cannot just be improvising all the time. There's a lot of structure there, actually.
It's arranging structure. You do this, you do that, you do that. You cannot just fool around and play. People will look, hey, what are you doing?
No.
It's all language, it's tradition, and that can also. It's great, but it can also be kind of limiting your creativity. And that's very valuable for me as well. I'm also a painter, also drawing. It's keep those doors open and a sensitivity of what's happening now. You came from Amsterdam school. We had the same teachers. The Dutch improv scene: Bimhuis, Nico Langehuis, Micha Mengelberg. Yeah. You can think of what you want, but that time there was they had some I got some essential lessons from them, I must say, in that field. Improvised. They were improvisers.
Yeah, maybe in my humble opinion, some music is to be criticized, which was created at that time, but they were free spirits.
That's what I mean. So I took like Dutch drummers, Han Benink, and for me the three were Martin van Duinhoven, Han Benink, at that time, and John Engels. But that was a typical Dutch improv scene, and I was saved from my experience by Latin music because there was a dead end street at that time. How I felt it, But now, looking back in retrospective, there were a few things that I start to see now that were actually not that bad, and that I now use in those moments. We're talking now about 80s, and then 80, it was not long before the whole revival, bebop, Winter Marsalis, and getting back on the hard bop stuff with people, and the Dutch jazz scene, they did the same thing. Like,
you mean like Winter Marsalis wearing a suit and the way they present the whole thing.
So that part of Dutch music we came out of the improv scene where that was not done.
It was just total anarchy. Big time.
Yeah, and then those bands became successful. Let's say that actually the Houdini. I was the first drummer of the Houdinis actually, with which was. You know what I mean? I'm trying to say the retro jazz, hard bop, young jazz educated guys. They were they were taking over they were taking over the jazz scene, which was before that time was there was a lot of improv stuff, Willem Breuker and
I think generally, the Netherlands has always been. Still, in a way, is, although I think the climate has changed a lot. But we always had this reputation of being like a kind of a free country.
Yeah.
Whenever you go abroad, people talk about free smoke, and the drug policy, and everybody thinks it's that kind of thing. We always had this reputation. It's actually it's based on truth, of course, kind of truth. Yeah. Although I think, like I said, things have changed. But that's not the subject.
No,
in some.
I came to talk about it because of out of a musical thing of being open and always see your limits or open, frontiers or how do you call it? Anyway, there's some good things that I learned from improvised music, and still, starting with nothing, just opening your ears and see what the moment gives you, which is the opposite of a lot of a
drummer like you with Latin music, structured bands and all of that. It's a good thing to you have to keep developing. We're eternal students.
That's what we are.
Well, thank you so much
for
this wonderful conversation. What I'll do, I will put all the information about you in the show notes. Like do you have a website? I guess you do.
I have a website. It's my name, Lucas van Merwijk .com or tamtamproductions.nl.
Yeah.
And all the information is there.
And also about your book.
Books. Yeah, I have 2 books. World Rhythms for Drum Set. People can order it on the website. And others advanced coordination studies. It's more for drummers, really technical coordination stuff. Yeah, that's another thing that is interesting to write stuff, put your ideas into books, and
yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Anyway, so we should round it off because we keep talking.
Yeah, but that's good. Yeah, but we could be talking for hours because we have so much to share, Yes, but I'll put it in the show notes, and so people can find you online. And thanks so much for this conversation.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Lucas.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoy my podcast, then please subscribe, leave a rating and a review. Please visit my website, mikedelferro.com, where you also will find links to my other podcast, Self-Management for Musicians. You will also find links to my music and my socials. And of course, please share this podcast with anyone interested. Nothing beats the word of mouth. Thank you.